Hey there, we're Talia and Ophira Edut, identical twins and astrologers. Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, where we bring the stars down to Earth. It's the week of May 20th to 26th, and oh my God, there's a major shift happening as we say farewell to Taurus and hello to the twins, Gemini, and surprise, surprise, we are here together today.
Yep, both of us are here. It's been a minute.
Tali in Seattle.
And Ophi in New York.
I know our voices sound just alike, but we're going to be talking about twins a whole lot because this is one of the most important weeks of the entire year. This Saturday, May 25th, Jupiter, the planet of abundance and philosophy and adventure and exploration and global relations, is changing signs after a year plodding along in the grounded, kind of uncomfortable realm of Taurus for Jupiter. It's moving on to another place that it's not necessarily that comfortable in, but maybe it has in some ways a little more fluidity. It's moving on to Gemini until June 9th of 2025. So basically 13 months of Jupiter in Gemini. And we think that's something to be excited about. Ophi, you and I have been talking about how everyone's saying, like, my God, I've just been kind of underwater with all the work that I have.
Yeah, I mean, Jupiter, wherever it goes, it gives us an abundance of whatever it's ruling. So in Taurus, which is very industrious and productive, it's the ruler of money and day-to-day routines and kind of those repetitive tasks a lot of times. So if you feel like you've so much to do, or, oh my God, I've tried to wean myself off of the habit of saying I'm so busy, because everybody is. It's almost like one of those things, if you say to someone, it's like, what am I, chopped liver? Like, duh, we're all busy.
Right.
But we're all really busy right now in ways that maybe we haven't experienced. Like, I feel a little bit like I'm busy in a way of I'm doing so many different things at once that my day is very chopped up. I've heard a lot of people say that too, like all these different tasks or duties that require undivided attention. And so if you're feeling like your energy levels are a little wiped out from that, or maybe you're feeling excited because within those tasks you found something that you really love and really, like getting into the weeds of, then I hope you did, and good for you. But still, it has been like a heavy skew toward the doing. So when Jupiter moves into Gemini this Saturday, May 25th, it's going to stay there till June 9th, 2025. And we're moving from the element of Earth that rules Taurus to air that rules Gemini. So Earth is very much about setting up camp, setting up shop, planting the flag, and just getting to work. And air is about communication, moving around, mobility. Gemini rules neighborhoods. It's ruled by Mercury. It's about spreading messages, marketing, not just, going into your metaphorical workshop and, pounding away in the iron factory, but telling the world what you're making in that workshop, letting people try it.
It's interesting you said planting the flag and setting up camp for Jupiter and Taurus, because that's literally what has happened. Jupiter is the ruler of global relations, and we've seen that happen at college campuses.
It also rules universities.
That's true. So, yeah. So universities have become these breeding grounds for very Taurus type things, which is using your voice, speaking your truth, stubbornly, staunchly standing up for what you believe. But here's where Gemini energy is going to be quite helpful, because Jupiter and Taurus, it almost feels like everybody's just shouting into the void.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Met Gala, which is also very Taurus-y. Taurus rules luxury and fashion, and at the Met Gala, the tail end of Jupiter and Taurus over these last couple of weeks, there were all these TikTokers and then protesters, and this whole Blockout 2024 campaign has started to cancel celebrities who don't take a stand publicly. So that feels very Jupiter and Taurus as well, like going and protesting at these very, there's universities, the Met Gala, a lot of these Taurusy expressions of outrage are happening in some very luxurious places where a lot of
Very
wealthy people
elite. That's
are.
true. What we're hoping for with Jupiter and Gemini is that the monologues will become dialogues. Taurus energy can be very mono, like boom, boom, beating the drum. And Gemini's like about curiosity and inquiry and, allowing dualities to exist.
Jupiter is in what's called detriment in Gemini. So there are favorite places to hang out for all the planets, and then some signs that are a little uncomfortable because the energies don't match. I know we just said that about Jupiter and Taurus, but Gemini is the opposite sign of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the planet ruled by Jupiter. So when Jupiter is in Gemini, it's in a little bit of an awkward place. Jupiter is kind of like the man spreader of the planets. It wants to like go out wide and, take over the space. Gemini is more airy fairy. It's kind of like a pixie. It doesn't maybe take up as much physical space, but a lot of mental space. So there's going to be a lot of probably overanalyzing of things when Jupiter's in Gemini, a lot of, on the one hand, great curious questions, but maybe bottomless lines of questionings that take us in cul-de-sacs and circles. So we're gonna have to probably practice a little bit of discipline at a certain point. Like while it's great to explore certain things, we may also just need to know, like, all right, we're not going to answer this right now. Let's agree to disagree, or let's put a bookmark in it.
Yeah, and might we also add that Jupiter's not the only planet going into Gemini. That's a big deal star, but Monday, the sun goes into Gemini, giving us the new season of Gemini that lasts until June 20th. And then on Thursday, Venus will go into Gemini, the planet of love. So Venus and Jupiter are known as the benefics. They have primarily positive qualities, and they've been together in Taurus for the last 4 or so weeks, and now they're moving along with. So a lot of planets are kind of migrating from Taurus to Gemini this week. 3 of them, in fact.
Which is a good thing because, as we shared in last week's pod, there's a big cluster of planets just in, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus almost predominantly. And it was a real heavy concentration of energy, which also I think led to people feeling like, whew, I'm just pushing so hard. And that's starting to break up and spread out. So we're going to get a little bit more of a, our energy is not going to be so dense. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and in Gemini, we also have a chance to be more playful and to pair up and to invite other people in instead of, because Pisces was this martyr sacrifice. I'm carrying all the weight, and Aries is like, I can handle it, and Taurus is like, okay, but this is how I need it done. And then in comes Gemini like a breath of fresh air to say, you know what? Let me hear how you do it. I'm curious about how this person does it. Wait, what happens if we put our, heads together on this? We can't also, overlook the fact that this Thursday we have a full moon as well. Full moon in Sagittarius, the sign that Jupiter rules. And this is there's only one Sag full moon this year. We're personally looking forward to it as Sagittarians. So this is a big idea day, a big day for global relations too. Now,
Yeah.
Jupiter and Gemini, the last time Jupiter was in Gemini was in 2012. And then the time before that was in the year 2000. Both of those years had a little bit of a, apocalyptic scare when Jupiter was in Taurus and Gemini, both of those years. We had the Y2K uh, scare in 2000, and then 2012, there was the Mayan calendar. We thought the world was ending. And the way global relations are going now, it does feel, there's a sense of doom and fear and what is humanity sinking to. But we always seem to come out of it with Jupiter and Gemini. And we're hoping that happens again without too much collateral damage to humanity. I mean, we're already, I don't know if we're I don't know if I can say without too much because there already has been a lot, but hopefully Jupiter and Gemini will bring out, if it's in its highest vibration, will help us to negotiate and be willing to hear each other and consider each other's perspectives.
Yes. I mean, the World War II and the stock market crash both happened during Jupiter and Gemini cycles. So we're going to have to learn from some of the mistakes. If you haven't heard our beginning of the year trend report on the podcast, we talk about that and how we really have to be careful about the spread of misinformation and mass hysteria during this time, but also unexpected global alliances. In the case of World War II, to end the war, it was the United States and Russia. So we may see some repetitions of that if we're being real. But again, I like to remind that humanity has evolved, we hope. So hopefully we can do better than those times in the past.
Yeah, speaking of past predictions, we've been kind of watching a couple of our predictions from our 2024 horoscope book start to come true. We predicted a baby bump for the Beavers. And we also said that some celebrity couples would go, including Bennifer, would go through some bumps in the road. And we saw now the headlines are saying that, the Leo on Leo, they both are Leos with Scorpio moons, that they're maybe living apart and having, potential rifts and might be headed for divorce. I mean, we don't wish that on anyone, but it is such an interesting time. Jupiter and Gemini can maybe be healing for some of the friction there, but can also, Jupiter is very independent, so it can also create this. I would say the downside of the twinning vibe is expecting your partner to twin you, and
Yeah, that's not what Gemini is about, despite being the twins. It's the mirror twin. So it's about finding someone who complements you, not clones you. So I think, the Bennifer pop culture example is kind of that, like, we do everything together, this matched set romantic fantasy. And with the South Node in Libra and Jupiter and Gemini, that kind of, we'll see what happens with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I admit, they seem like they'll end up together. We did predict that they might get engaged, or even wed this year. But we might be a little less fascinated with their kind of Barbie and Ken shtick there. Like, cute.
We
Okay.
did we did predict 2 years ago when Jupiter was going into Taurus that the trad wife culture was going to kick up, and that has been such a thing. That's, for those who aren't in the know, it's a hashtag for tradition, short for traditional wife. So there's this whole back to, part, it just goes hand in hand with a lot of the backlash, I think, in some ways. I mean, I guess it could be empowering if you want to own your domestic skills, but why does it have to be tied to being a wife? I won't get on the
Well, there was a
soapbox
whole
there,
thing,
but
just one of the Kansas City chief teammates spoke at a Catholic college graduation and, is now being criticized and defended for free speech for suggesting that many of the women there might go on to work, but a lot of them, you would imagine, were really most excited about having kids and starting homes and families.
But isn't his
And
mom like some astrophysicist or something? Like his mom
wow,
has some like amazing STEM type career too. So
wow. And people really did go to the conservative side with Jupiter and Taurus. I mean, with all the reproductive, anti abortion things going on. It's Jupiter and Taurus can definitely turn back the clock as it progresses it in other ways. I think with Jupiter and Gemini, we're going to see a lot more, with Gemini being an air sign, a lot more sort of modern ideas. But Gemini rules media, multimedia, so we're probably going to also see any ideas that people are clinging on to spreading through social media, AI, everything else is going to speed up
yeah,
there
it's like
too.
Attack. I mean, I'm a little worried. It's like Attack of the Clones. Who's real? That's where twinning can go
Ooh, true.
south. It's like what's real, what's not. Am I talking to you or am I talking to an AI version of your voice? Who's this media coming from? Is this video actually created by, AI? I mean, every Adobe program that I've opened, InDesign, Photoshop, now is a generative AI feature, so I can go make a fruit bowl, add a kiwi, this and that. And I mean, it's like we won't even really know what's real and what isn't. I think by the time this is through, this year-long cycle is through, and next year Uranus, the planet of technology, also goes into Gemini for a little bit, kicking off a little preview of a 7-year cycle that begins in 2026. So it's things are going to get more and more surreal. So that's
Don't
more
be
reason.
fooled by the bots that I got. Just to bring it back to J Lo there. Yeah,
She's
I
still Jenny from the blockchain. Yes.
oh boy, here get two Sages going. We're going to rewrite her entire catalog. Maybe that tour will be successful then. Maybe she should have toured the metaverse.
Well,
This
it's
is
such
me
a,
then, not
it
this is me
is
now.
for all of us, like it's Gemini is about twinning and pairing up, but it's this Jupiter cycle is happening in one of the most, suppressive times astrologically for relationships, because the lunar south node, the karmic south node, is in Libra, which is about marriage and relationships. And then the north node, which is what we're all sort of stretching towards and learning, is in Aries. So we're getting all these pulls toward being independent and self-authorized and free from labels, and everything that has to do with the this is us is just like no thanks. And so
Yeah.
we've had, it's like I'm sure it's jarring for, J Lo, who has, really gotten a lot of attention for her relationship with Ben Affleck, and they're both Leos with Scorpio moon, so that's like a recipe for being a romance junkie right there. But perhaps not the recipe for being put.
Interdependent, which is what Jupiter and Gemini is going to be about. Like having your own identity is what's going to strengthen partnerships, relationships, anything that you're working on with other people. So,
Fraternal twins, not identical.
yeah, we're
um
so 2023 as identical twins.
Well, Jupiter in Gemini also rules something that we are so excited to tell you about. And that is publishing, writing. And we have a brand new book coming out this August 27th that is now available for pre order. And we can finally share the news of it. It's called The Astrology Advantage. Use your horoscope for personal and professional success. This has been a new system for astrology that we have been developing over the last 5 years as we've been working with our entrepreneurial, our astropreneur clients, um, business people, thought leaders. impact driven leaders, creatives that we've been consulting and working with and doing readings for. And what we wanted to do was really create a way for you guys to remember and be able to use your entire chart without having to memorize it. That was something that kept coming up. We were working with people and they'd say, "Oh my God, thank you for all this information." Then they'd be like, "Wait, what's my moon again? What's my Mercury?" So, what we did was created a system where we take the best of personality tests like Strength Finders, Myers Briggs, the Enneagram, and we made an astrological version of that. So in this book, you will get to learn, we have a calculator that you can already start using at astrostyle.com/I am. I am stands for innovator, authority, and maven. So you get to calculate your archetype by just putting in your birthday. It takes 13 points in your chart, your sun, your moon, your rising, all the planets and your nodes. And it works with the modalities. How many of them are cardinal? How many of them are fixed? How many of them are mutable? And it gives you your I am profile. Most people have one dominant archetype, innovator, authority, or maven. And then what do you do with it? You just remember that. And the whole book tells you how to apply it to every part of your life for productivity, for success, whether in relationships, whether with time management, communication, career, all the things that matter to you. So, we're so excited that we're finally going to be able to present this to everyone, not just the people we've worked with one on one or in small groups.
Yeah, because busy, successful people, which is pretty much who we all need to be these days, need to be able to tap into astrology without having to memorize their entire birth charts. We just don't have the hard drive space to do that, most of us. I mean, kudos to you if you do. And if you're one of our astro geeks, we love that too. And we still think you'll love this anyway. The the idea is that there's a main temperament that you have that if you understand it about yourself, it helps you make decisions faster. The average person, the average adult, makes over 35,000 decisions a day. No wonder our brains are tired, right? So we wanted to answer the call that we've been really getting and seeing and noticing over the past 5 years that wellness, which now includes healing modalities like astrology and work, have come together. They used to be separate. You would work life balance. You would go to work and then you'd go home and relax. And with our lives being hybrid now and overlapping, like it's just not like that anymore, which is a great thing. So, we hope that you'll grab a copy of the Astrology Advantage because we have a little personal mission too, which is to show the world that astrology is a great tool for success and that it's part of well being. And one of the ways that many people find that they can bring their whole self to work, to relationships, to life, that can show up fully as they are, understanding who they are, and being satisfied anywhere they go. So, we're going to be doing stuff all summer long. So if you're not on our mailing list, make sure you join because you're going to be getting invited to a lot of awesome, exclusive yet inclusive activities and special events we're going to be doing all summer to help keep your energy high as we go into this election season. We all need to stay hopeful and we all need to stay in our power. And with Jupiter and Gemini, you know, we need some new options and new ways of approaching life.
And if you happen to be listening to this on Monday morning, lucky you, because today we are having a special contest for the first 111 people who buy the hardcover of the Astrology Advantage. You have a chance to win a reading with us this June. So, Ophi, what do they do? Should they just go to the link in the show notes and then
Yep. Go to the pre-order link in the show notes and it'll give you the directions for how to order your hardcover. bring your order receipt number back and enter it, and that will put you into the mix if you're one of the first 111 people. And you could win a special, awesome reading with us. And everyone who does buy the book pre-order will be getting an invite to some of our other summer activities. So we've got a lot of great things planned. But if you want to win a private one-on-one reading, head on over and grab your book now.
Absolutely. So that's the Astrology Advantage, and we're going to teach you how to get the Astrology Advantage in little ways all summer. But this book will probably become your new Bible. Jennifer Lopez is an authority. What's Ben Affleck?
I think he's an innovator.
Innovator. Okay. So they need to know how their two types get along. Maybe they're a little...
We're going to be analyzing that too, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And back at you next week. Be sure to follow us at AstroTwins on Instagram and check your daily horoscopes at astrocell.com to stay connected. Until the next time. Bye, everyone. As always, thanks for listening. You can discover more of your star power at astrocell.com and be sure to follow us on social at AstroTwins. Join us next time for more cosmic fun.